and I want to specially welcome you to our Thursday special. Well, Mr. Miwademi would not be joining me on the show today, but we'll have a guest, a first of many. And today we're going to be looking at a particular conversation that all through from Monday I'd been a part of, maybe directly or indirectly, some of the issues that we have raised on the show. Remember, on Monday we had the president and chief executive officer of the Digital Bridge Institute. That's the data arm of the Nigerian Communication Commission. He joined us on the show on Monday, and then we also talked about how the young people, how the population, can be positively utilized rather than us seeing our population explosion as a explosion rather as a disadvantage. We see it as an advantage. That was what we focused on Monday. What we need to do in terms of building the tech ecosystem of Nigeria. More importantly, encouraging the attitude of a proper data gathering. Those are the things that we talked about on Monday and on Tuesday as well. Barrister Adams Atta joined me on the show. We focused on the disturbing figure of about 18.3 million out of school children that we have in Nigeria, forming about 1 out of 3 out of school children in the world, about 15% of the global percentage of out of school children. And those numbers are absolutely disturbing. We looked at the security, threats that those can eventually lead up to, especially at certain regions of the country where there's a lot of illiteracy, there's a lot of misbalance in social structure. We talked about that on Tuesday, and of course today we'll be having the first of many, like I said, the first speaker of the Nigerian Youth Parliament. She joins me on the show today. She's also the first speaker of the Lagos State University Medical Student Association here, the Lagos State University. So we're going to be looking at issues today, and more importantly, we're going to be looking at youth unemployment in Nigeria, balancing education and the skills gap. I mean, it's no longer news that the level of unemployment in the country keep flying by the day. However, experts have come out to say that until we learn to imbibe the culture of bringing in skill sets, especially at the secondary school, beginning from the secondary school level, right up to the university level, so that people don't just go into university, get a certificate, and get out of the system, and then they come pile it up again on the high rate of unemployment that we have in this country. So you look at how a typical Nigerian youth is ready in terms of facing the challenges of life. It's a process all through, from your elementary school to your secondary school to your university. Some will go to colleges of education, technical school. It's just a whole lot. And a lot of people had also come out to say that, does education exactly guarantee you a good life? What happens to you going to school, and in the process of getting formal education, you also develop some workable skill sets that would help you, that in case you come out and there's no white collar job, what do you survive on? Do you also wait, and then somebody tells you, I went to so transport company, threw out application, PhD holders were applying this and this, and whether I would like it or not, we have a system where education exactly is not something that is now cheap. It's not something that is cheap. I remember there was a time I had I think the spokesperson of the special advisor to the governor of Ondo State, are proud to build up to the governorship election in Ondo State. And somebody called on the show and was asking, please help us beg the governor that the cost of education is high, is becoming unaffordable, the people of the state cannot afford to pay and all of that. So whether we like it or not, we have a lot to do, or a lot more to learn when it comes to how prepared a Nigerian youth are when they are getting out of school, out of the university. So it's a basic question of, would you rather want to join in the unemployment numbers that we have, or you want to come out of school not just having your BSc or your ND or your HND, but you also have a skill set that can make you employable, or that can make you hot cake in the unemployment market. So we're going to be looking at that on the show today. Like I said, I have my guest. She's a first of many. More importantly, she's someone that had committed a lot of her time in, mentoring quite a lot of young people, and our activities in the process of, setting up and working with NGOs. So she's been around this space for a while, and I felt like, you know what? Let us have this conversation on the show today. So my guest is there already. She's live on the show, and she's Dr. Asisat Yeshau. She's, like I said, first of many, and maybe she won't like me to go through her profile, but it's really important at this point that I do. But hey, she was the first speaker of the Nigerian Youth Parliament in 2021, and before she got to that level, she was also the first female speaker of the Lagos State University Medical Student Association. She's a product of the prestigious Lagos State University here. So she's a daughter of the soil, and she's doing some amazing stuff for herself. Yes, I've also had, some engagement with Razak Obey at some point, the former speaker of the Nigerian Youth Parliament. So it's a privilege for me to have the first female speaker of the Nigerian Youth Parliament. Good evening, Dr. Yeshau. Thank you for joining me on the show today. Hello.
Thank you so much for having me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me as well?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I can. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being on the show today. Thank you so much for hearing me.
Okay.
It's a pleasure to be here.
We're streaming this program live, so you can go on our social media platforms, youtube.com/mainland 98.3. You can also go on facebook.com /mainland 98.3 FM. We're going to have some really engaging conversation with my guest today. But before we go into the issue of youth policy making, involvement of the young people in governance, in leadership, let's talk about your own personal journey. Like I said, you're a first of many, the first female speaker of the Nigerian Youth Parliament. And I've also been around that space. I've been a student activist in my days in the university. So I understand the rigor of, pushing up to that level. But I mean, you broke that jinx in 2021, and then you won an election based on a rerun with about 50 to 48 votes. I mean, your numbers are impressive also. And while you were, in the Lagos State University, you were also first of many. Yes, the first female speaker of the Lagos State University Medical Student Association. You were the speaker from 2017 to 2018. What have you learned in that process that you think, had prepared you for where you are right now?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking me to the memory lane.
Yeah, let's go through that.
Yes, thank you. For me personally, I think I've been very specific about my leadership journey, and I'm someone that's very passionate about thought leadership. And so a lot of work that I've done is always in the development space and community development. So in case I don't usually like to read a lot of profiles, and the reason why is because my direct constituents are young people, and I always want to make sure that while you are trying to inspire young people, you don't want to be far away from them as well. So a lot of what I do is in the community space. I'm a community advocate, and currently I'm working my career towards a policy expert, especially for youth development as well. I'm currently in studies around the public policy strategy as well, and I currently work with the Honorable Minister of Youth Development as a special assistant on project and strategy. So going back memory lane, yes, I think for me, I've always realized that leadership and governance rather is one way that you can have a widespread impact through policy, through projects, through various activities. You realize that you can do much more than just attending to one person or the needs of a few people. But then when you have a system that is able to address or reach out to a larger number of people, then you realize that what your impact can give in a maximum impact. So, yes, I've always been someone that's outspoken and see things a little bit more clearly, and someone that's always committed to see something to finish. I start sometimes very slow, but then it always gets the result. So, while the best of many, I'm hoping that a lot of people would break that jinx. For me, I don't want to be slick, especially when we're talking about involving women in leadership. It's a good example, but then we want to situation where we have more women able to occupy leadership positions. So, I was in school yesterday, and right from when I got to school, I joined the student council and the student parliament. So I was a third-time returning officer before I became the speaker as well. So, but participating in governance or legislative process was not a sudden, commitment to an idea to me. I've always been interested in governance and the leadership space where we are trying to decide a lot of things for our people. So, I did what was expected as a budding politician. I campaigned and, understood what was important for people, especially when you are running for leadership. People like to have a connection or a contact or some form of, relationship, for that put it that way. And so, I think one of the things that I've learned, having been the speaker, 2 times, having to engage my peers and having to have that people exhibit or learn, that people oriented personality as well. I think these are one of the things that I've learned. And also to know that leadership is not easy, especially leadership that you have to deal with your equal peers, and that is what legislative process brings to you. While you might be the speaker or the top, do you understand me? You have equally competent colleagues that, are not at your beck and call, right? And so you have to manage a lot of people.
Especially with the fact that they were also elected the way you were elected.
Yes, so there's always like, okay, this is, it's an elective process whereby we're selecting a leader. And so, but I think that for me, generally the experience, especially in medical school, having to combine studies and, the elective process. But I think for me, it was a great learning platform. It allowed me to understand what leadership is about and the process of, of attaining leadership position, what is expected during that leadership position, and, what to do after, leadership position. And so I must really, appreciate that foundational knowledge in terms of people management, in terms of respect for other opinions, in terms of being at the center of criticism.
I mean, it can be tough.
Yes, it can be very, very tough. So, learning those people management, stage management, managing interests, resources as well, because, resource mobilization is one of the key feature of a good leader as well. So managing resources when factors are difficult and trying to, deliver deliver the mandate or deliver your people to a certain objective as well. So it was a good experience for me. And it also gave me the support when I became member of the Lagos State Youth Parliament. And then from there, we moved on to become the Speaker of the Parliament. Very, very valuable experience for me as a young leader. And it has opened my perspective in managing people, managing expectation, and being able to deliver, deliver, do you understand, on your promises, especially to the best of your ability. So I really, really appreciate my experience in this week and my colleagues that I work with during that period.
Very interesting. Okay. You said a lot about, while I'm still on you and your journey to where we are right now, in your process of interacting with people, irrespective of their social status, but you said something really important. You said you've always worked with your direct constituent. That means people that are within your, maybe not exactly social strata, but within the age bracket, maybe educational also within that space. What have you learned the most from these people? And what do you think is the biggest challenge that these people have had to deal with? And when I say these people, I also include you as a young person.
Can you come again, please?
Okay. I said in the process of all of these, your engagements are from your alma mater, what you started off in the Lagos State University, down to the National Youth Parliament, all of these engagements, the NGOs you've worked for, also setting up your own NGO. Now you're currently you're working with the Honorable Minister for Youth. You must have, interacted with a lot of young people, especially you also admitting to the fact that you're more of directly involved with your constituents. Your constituents in this case are people that are probably within your age range, are young people. What have you learned as the biggest challenge that a typical Nigerian youth is facing today?
Okay, so I would say that generally, I will talk about challenges from community, like the external factor, and then I'll talk about individual challenges. So I think generally, one of the challenges that young people have is access to information and empowerment to participate. I use those two things as a generic word, depending on which aspect of development for young people that you want to talk about. So access to information, like literally, when things that are being done are supposed to have direct impact on you, those information are not readily available in the ecosystem that young people operate in, or like if it's other things that would benefit some different set of people. The news don't get around, the information are not readily available. They are not even available in the circle that young people would normally operate. And then when I say like, when I mean I want empowerment to participate, so it's not only in politics, because don't think about participation, they say oh, blah, 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 and things like that. But in other sphere of like education, in health, in development as well. So the ecosystem that is supposed to provide opportunities for you to gain access to participate are not readily available. It might be structural, it might be transportational, it might be financial in terms of funding, it might be access to skills and opportunities that ought to be readily available for you. So, for example, if you, for one reason or the other, you enter some form of development center for young people, you're not getting the opportunity, you're not having the access to get the skills to get the job. If peradventure you enter an office and say, I'm looking for a job as a young person, you hardly have the support system to say, okay, even if you don't have, this is not the right place for you to get, okay, this is the information available, this is where to go. Okay, even if you have the skills up to this level, okay, this is where to go to get the skills, and then you can then go up there. So that is not really available as an ecosystem for young people. And development countries, this is what you get. I'll give you a typical example. While I was interfacing with an expatriate, and got to Nigeria and we needed an help, right? So there were two challenges that I identified right at that moment, and that influenced some of the things that they were doing in their international organization. They needed help, to clean their house, needed jobs, and realized that there was not even a platform to go and
reach out.
That okay, I need just go online and say, or even call a service provider and say, okay, we need a house help. We have to then be calling somebody who knows somebody who can then refer somebody and stuff like that. So if it's difficult for you as data service to even get labor, to get people who would work, then you can imagine how difficult it is for people to start looking for somebody that will get them a job. So you have to know somebody. Okay, we heard that there's an opening here. Oh, is it true? Oh no, it's not true. This agency or this organization, even it happens in private sector, so it's not only in the public sector, right? Oh, this agency is recruiting. Then we're not recruiting. You understand? And then the second thing that the person now realized is that graduates were the one that were doing menial jobs, and the person was flagged about that. Look, this is your country. Why would you, as someone who has gone through, a higher education, be doing this kind of job? It's not like I say it's not a decent job, but if you've invested this much in knowledge, then this is not where you should be. So those are external factors. We're not about internal factors, but these are factors that come up based on the experience of young people. And that is that, a little bit of time, we're a little bit disappointed by the process laid down by our society to get us to a promised land. And as such, we develop some certain characters. So some of those characters is that we do not, there's not this passion and commitment, you understand, that to develop oneself. So young people are generally expectant, right? Okay, if ask us to go to school, then automatically they should be available. Whereas what is available right now might not be even be enough. And so you need to build yourself as well. And because of, currently what is also going on there's this lackadaisical attitude to building oneself and then to be productive, right? So one thing that I've also realized that a lot of young people need to understand within ourselves is that we're not learning the right values. For me, part of one thing I'm very proud of is my volunteering years. So right from university days, I've always volunteered. I still have so much amount of energy, and I was able to display the energy, walk around, share the letters, deliver the letters, what was administration all about. And I was not paid during this period. But you see how young people right now currently are so focused on, we're disappointed, this is not what we expect to get, or because we access some education, then it is enough to then take us to the promised land of maybe economic sufficient. So for young people internally, we need to understand that we are responsible for our own self-development, whether or not the society or our environment is favorable. We are responsible for seeking to develop ourselves, and we must understand that we need to develop ourselves. Our development doesn't come easy. So if you have to learn, you learn. If you have to work, you work. If you have to make yourself better, you understand, so that you can aspire to where you want to. Then you need to do that. If it means reaching out to people, calling people, working, talking, whatever it is that you need to do, you need to be committed. Nothing will be handed over to you directly. And so that's the only self-development aspect for, generally that we see among young people.
Thank you very much, yo. I really enjoyed this conversation because it's basically about, practical ways of getting things done. Now, let's move to where we are right now. And I was going through your profile, just like you also said about volunteering. You've done and you're still doing a lot of jobs with NGOs and, that have to do with youth advocacy. Now, let's talk about the problems of the youth now. The last election, when INEC released the demographics that we have, the young population formed about 64.7% of the entire, people that registered to participate in the last election. Because people have always said, oh, young people should not just sit at the periphery. Young people should push to be on the table. We've got quite a lot of young people also holding political office. We had a 26-year-old that won an election into the Kwara State House of Assembly. Also in Ogun State, the son of the late Senator Buruji Kasham is also, I think, about 26 or thereabouts. The son of the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai, is also in the House of Reps. So we've got quite a lot of young people within that space. But when it comes to voting, when it comes to getting into election, the young population seems to be easily divided along different lines. There's political affiliation, there's religious sentiment, a lot of other things. What do you think the young people should do in terms of, dictating who gets what within the Nigerian political space?
Thank you very much. I think that it goes without saying that even the political environment understand the power of young people. And that is why they always, they push. Really during election that people say, yeah, young people should go outside, political parties and candidates. I'll probably do the same thing as well when I'm running for election. Get your PVC, vote your right and all that. And I think that a lot of burden is placed on young people, young Nigerians, and in a way, I think they have no choice because a lot of older generations do not have that uniqueness trait of patriotism and optimism to carry on for change. And that is why young people, that live on. So young people are optimistic, young people have the energy, we're innovative, we can see move. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because of course, there is a future to look at compared to, the older, older. This is something that happens with age generally. So as you get older, it's just something that's just sedentary to you, rather than, being exhibiting passion and, commitment for effort. So I think that, first of all, I think globally, we have a handful of countries that you have young people that are very sound and understand their role in the political process. However, in African countries, our understanding of the involvement of young people is very poor, and that is also reflected in our awareness and education of the rules of even citizens generally during elections. And so, a lot of people just do not understand governance, and by extension, they do not understand what election is and how important it is. And young people just follow the trend, as the case might be. And in the last elections, yes, we showed the population. And one thing I used to ask is that the numbers do not reflect the different aspects to young people. So a majority of these young people that I might be talking about are vulnerable young people. They can be displaced young people. These are the unemployed young people. These can be young people who live in far remote areas. This can be elders. This can be not people that have access to an egalitarian thinking or so much necessarily as a governance or leadership understanding. And because our ecosystem does not meet this aspect of governance, of democracy, readily accessible, building, respecting the rule of law, understanding the power of the people, of the citizens, are always ensuring right rule of law, the relevance and importance of governance. And this builds the patriotism or the inclusion for citizens, especially young people in the system. Also, this is our stake. So I'm bringing this up, and it is a vicious circle because
that's very unfortunate.
Yes. So I have a direct experience with a politician. I have an uncle who is a politician in Lagos State, and I see what you have to go through. Like, what if it's not his business? People just bring to him just because, oh, I have election. And then there's this threat of will not vote for you, the youth will not vote for you. Even the things that young people are requesting for is not directly to their own development or long term. So you see young people negotiating stipends, negotiating for immediate gratification, negotiating for things that will not take them another day, and insisting that that is exactly what they want. So there's a need for young people. So because I know that nobody will come and save us. Young people within our circle, we need to start thinking differently. If we want things to last longer. So during election, and I used to say, if you can quote me anywhere, I don't care. That it's not easy to pick a leader during election. People, in fact, the leaders who are campaigning, when I'm telling you, they also believe that they can do these things. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Oh, we will get you this, we will do this, we will jump up and down. They believe that they can also do it. The reality of this, and I'm saying it from a practical experience. And so what I tell young people is that if you want to know someone that is because about ensuring that there are systems that continuously ensure safety next to building the capacity of the country to do the things that should normally do, rather than they might not happen. So for young people, it's difficult. So we are not at the best place in terms of democracy, in terms of selecting leader institutions. And I'll give you an example. In America, right, when Trump first won his election, not that we're in it as one again, we knew how the system itself was able to and to withhold some of the things that this individual chose. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? If someone like that, he is coming again, he comes to the whole of the country, we just maybe probably have a coup d'etat or something. You understand? So it is, and you see those things in big, even in upcoming or emerging economies or countries. They build systems that would continuously, because the challenges that we face in the world are what we call wicked challenges. There will always be poor people. There will always be some war somewhere. There would always be one issue or the other. What advanced countries do or developed countries do that they build a system that year in at every time when they get their resources, they are able to put their resources into something that keeps rebuilding. Every year people give birth. If you give birth to a child, that means that you have to provide education, provide food, provide clothing, provide this, provide that. The fact that you were able to send or give grants to 1,000 youth in SME does not mean in another 10 years you won't have another set of young people.
Exactly.
So if what you did is about, hey, look at us, we launched this thing. Whereas there's no system to ensure that year in, year out, we're able to provide, whether a certain councillor or a certain chairman or a certain governor or a certain head of state or whatever was able to provide a scheme. You understand? We know that's what we meant. And you see in our country, they create institutions. That is what they do. You have institutions for this, institutions for that. And the civil servant, the public servant are committed to ensuring that those things last for the development of the country. So when we are in elections, let's not be too dazzling. A lot of our leaders are almost the same. They are from the same group. You understand? We must look at, for young people, we must look at someone that is interested in leaving leaving a legacy outside their name, right? People that are able to ensure that this thing works, whether I'm there or I'm not there. So I think I'll stop there.
Let's wrap up the conversation because I promised I was not going to take much of your time. Now, you've clearly spelled this out, and the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the last 17 months or thereabouts, I've had his own, issues here and there, but let's look at some of the appointments that have been made, and I'm going to focus a little on the Minister of Youth Development. He was formerly the Minister of State for Youth, but then during the shake-up, he became the Minister of Youth Development. Honorable Lawande Ayodele, you worked with him for a while, or you're still working with him. Talk to us about some of the things that you feel having young people on board of a cabinet of someone as experienced as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will do to the confidence of other people outside, saying, you know what, if this person can be here, I can also be here.
So thank you very much. I always use the opportunity to promote my principal. I work with him, I still work with him, and to also promote the effort of course, of the president, in no bias form anyway. And I believe that even while my principal, Olawande, was the Minister for State, he has this can-do attitude for young people, and there was an open door policy. And that really ensured that a lot of the activities that we are now coming up with and we're trying to implement are focused on young people and promoting system. This was someone that came in and ensured that we had the full handshake with the civil servant, and that is the Federal Ministry of Youth Employment, so that initiatives that come do not just fizzle out, when it's no longer in the system.
Office.
This is someone that is checking rigorously with development partners, international partners, for sustainability, specifically for young people. This is also someone that is, now that is a substantive minister, even before that, is rigorously shaking with ministry, other ministries, departments, and agencies for the sake of young people. And we have an agenda to ensure that we are able to provide economic opportunities for nothing less than 10 million in a very realistic way. And we are looking at realistic sectors that will be able to cater for the different categories of young people, graduate young people who are post-secondary education, young people who do not even have post-primary education, who do not have access to any form of education. We are catering to informal young people. We have a digital learning platform called Nigerian Youth Academy. We are revamping the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund. We are setting up greenhouses across the country for young people to be able to go to their local governments and say, look, I don't have a job, these are my skills. Or I don't have skills, but I want to learn this. And then we collect this data and when information and opportunities for young people to have these skills available. We will contact you through our greenhouses. We will contact you and say, there is a skill because you've indicated this interest as well. So, and these are one of the things I said that we're trying to bring this information closer to young people as well. And several other initiatives as well. And we're trying to bring up the commitment. And I think that one thing that the minister has done is that he has set a good record for young people. That if we have young people in this position,
they can get things done.
Do you understand that we can get things done? That young people too have the capacity that we also know how to play the game. That, in such position. And as you can see, at least we've been here for 2 years now, and even if anybody has anything to complain about, it will not be in negative. It might be in absenteeism, and that will be because such person has not gone out to access information. But when you go out to access information, then you realize that this is what is important. By next week, we're going to be in Borno. We're having a council on youth development, reaching out all to the MDAs and the state commissioners of youth to deliver a national vision to this commissioner on how to develop their. Yes, we currently have about 4 or 5 projects on my desk that we're trying to use to open some certain sectors that are either been moribund or that, for a while, young people have not, the youth ecosystem for the federal government have not looked into as a way to support, for young people as well. So I think my principal is a standing example of what young people can do. There's this open door policy. You don't need to know anybody before you come to send a letter, and we listen. If there's something that we can do, we can direct to the right and listen. And he has managed the political landscape as well in ensuring that for the sake of young people, he has the good relationship with other cabinet members. He has a strong working relationship with the president in carrying the vision and the manifesto for the new data agenda. So you will see that is a very good example of what a young person can do, especially if we have the right young person in the right position as well. So I think for us right now, the minister is laying a good foundation, and for young people who are observing, should also know that there was a journey before getting here. He didn't just fly.
He didn't just jump into this space.
Yes, he didn't just. This is someone that has been committed to impact right from world level, polling units to world level to state level and the federal level. As this process is gathered experiences, he's worked with NGOs, he's worked with international partners. He's also an engineer. You understand? He tried his hands on craft, so he's your everyday guy. Maybe also. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I'm with you.
So there is that practical experience, do you understand me, about, value for people as well. So when he got here, my guy always says that, look, what can be done now? We need to engage young people. We need to engage informal young people. And, those young people that will not, they don't know anybody, do you understand me? And we need to convert them to, productive sector of the country. So yeah, I think that for young people, you need to also know that people just don't appear what they are, and that you need to have some leadership or some self-development trait when we are managing resources, managing people as well. So for young people out there, it might not be this position that we want for young people. In actual truth, it's not every young people that want to occupy for one political leadership position. But you want to be at the peak of your career. Yeah, you want to be at the peak of your career. And it takes discipline, it takes learning. And you must enjoy the experience that you are having and pick out lessons for yourself. So when you're interacting with people, you're managing people, you're managing resources, you're facing challenges, you understand, they're supposed to help you become better at that. But with what the president is doing or what he has done, he has shown his commitment to young people. At least we passed the 30% quota for young people for MDAs and government status, which the Honorable Minister is very, very, very committed to. The conversation that we're having in Borno on to speak with other MDAs about this particular quota. We talk about commitment for funding for young people and so on and so forth. And you could see in the cabinet as well. We have some very competent young people that are there. In our own case, less than 40. I use the word less than 40 because in Nigeria, we get our own unique criteria. So for less than 40, we have young people who are really doing well, very well. And, they are showing, good examples to what it means to have young people. So as a last word, what I just used to say again is that I'm an advocate for thought leadership. So if you go to advanced countries and you see that you have a vibrant youth leadership sector, it's because one, the environment is conducive for young leaders to emerge. The environment, when I say environment, the country, the institutions, the laws, ensures that young people start understanding what leadership is right from the beginning and participate in leadership. So I'll give one example. I was about 2 years ago in Rwanda or so, and we had youth delegates, blah, 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 blah. And the youth delegate from UK to discuss on national youth issues for United Kingdom was a 19-year-old boy. And this is 25 or 27. Yes, even though I know that according to Africa's Union,
you still fall within the age grade.
Yes, I'm still the yeah. So, but I felt very, very much out of place with this before way more. And the thing there is that they have, those assets what top leadership. They are trained. They're given the opportunity. They're given the system. So when a young person gets into leadership position or a very more institutionalized position, it doesn't flop, right? It doesn't have to do too much.
Thank you so much. You said a lot. But let me also take one quick one from you as a wrap up the conversation. The issue of skill sets. It is very important because I know the government is doing a lot within its capacity to make sure that, unemployment numbers go down by the day, by the year. We look at some of the stats and data from the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. We understand all of these things. But on the issue of skill sets, on the issue of, our technical colleges, our polytechnics in Nigeria, what would you think the government should do differently in the area of getting people up in terms of having skill sets, so that as you're coming out of the higher institution, you're not just coming with your BSc or with your HND, or you're also coming with a skill set that can put food on your table, even if you still want to go for white collar jobs? What do you think the government should do in these regards?
So I think that there's a lot being done, and NYC is one of those places where such interchange is coming up. And I think that I know that the Honorable Minister is working on a few reforms. Recently, there was a ministerial order for the NYC to now post corpers to the sector of what they learned in university or closely to it. So whether that sector is in terms of skill and skill, right? But whatever it is, so that you can then have practical experience. Even if you are doing theory in school. But doing that NYSC, you will not be, if you learn chemistry, they will not post you to bank or school, or do you understand what I'm trying to say? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Or to some places that will not give you that practical experience to what you have to what you have learned. And that is something that will be reflective in this next, that will be reflective in the next this particular cohort, rather, for lack of camping, whatever, for lack of, I can't remember the exact word that we use for our couples. So that is it. And again, the honorable minister is taking on a huge challenge to create the enabling environment for young people to have access to the right skills. That's why for the jobs of today, so not a cake or moribund skills just for them, and to also ensure that the quality of the learning that has been given to young people, that is relevant to the skills that they are looking for or the economic prospects that they are in search of. So take, for example, we have what we call, again, I'm saying it because hopefully that other people will be there to listen to this note, is the Nigerian Youth Academy. So the Nigerian Youth Academy is a digital online learning platform for just about any skill that you can think about. We're hoping to launch very soon. I know a lot of people might have registered. We're hoping to launch very soon so we can absorb people. You can still go online and do these things. So what you can learn practically anything on the Nigerian Youth Academy, whether it's digital skills, non-digital skills, leadership skills, whatever it is, with practical videos for you to do what you're going to do and improve it with what is like coaches and all that. After learning, you'll be certified and then you'll be moved on to what we call the business community, whereby you can now say, hello, I've finished learning, now I'm skilled in this. And then we now have employers of labors, right, who are committed or people who are looking, like, just take an example, this my friend that came to the country and looking for help, right? Then, okay, I can't go to Nigerian Academy. I look for someone that knows English or French because I want the person to take care of my kids, that has done this. And so you can, from there, get there. And young people can, and if you're on this platform, you can be paid. When you offer services, right, you receive money on your behalf. And then when you finish the services and the customer is satisfied, you give you access to the money and you can, withdraw your money. So you can be paid on the platform. So we are looking at also using this platform to curtail excessive japa. You understand? So you can be in Nigeria and work,
still earn good.
Remotely. And still earn that dollar that you are looking for without having to leave the country, because then we are opening that to be a global accepted platform. So I think that's
Thank you very much. It's been an amazing conversation with Dr. Asisat Yeshao, a youth policy expert. And like I said at the start of the show, a first of many. And from what we heard today, you would understand that she's someone you really need to look out for. Thank you very much for being my guest on the show today, Dr. Yeshao. The notice was short, and then you still, agreed to be on the show. So thank you.
All right, no problem. It's a pleasure.
Okay. Let me extend my regards to your colleague, my friend, the SSA to the Honorable Minister on Entertainment and Talent Discovery, Owole Yomolayo. Let me say hi to him. He actually jumped up on the show at some point, so he listened to the conversation we're having. So, regards to Honorable Minister as well, we keep in touch and then we'll keep the conversation going. And I also wish you well in your future endeavors.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much for being with us from 4 p.m. And I just spoke to Dr. Asisat Yeshao. Like I said, the first female speaker of the Nigerian Youth Parliament, also the first female speaker of the Lagos State University Medical Student Association Youth Parliament. So she's working with the Honorable Minister of Youth in Nigeria, Honorable Lawande Ayodele, and she's told us about a lot of things. What I really wanted to get on the show today and I got is the idea of, allowing or helping people to develop skill sets that would help them to fight unemployment. There's no gainsaying the fact that it's a challenge that we're dealing with. And there is unemployment, there is underemployment. A lot of people are employed and they are underemployed. A lot of people are just getting pays and take homes that is just keeping them engaged, not exactly improving the quality of their lives, not exactly allowing them to save or make bigger plans. So it's one thing to be properly and gainfully employed, and it's one thing to be employed and still be underemployed, and it's one thing also to be totally unemployed. So there's always that advantage of you having a proper skill set, something that they call it hands-on experience, where Okay, while I was in school, I learned, fashion designing. I learned graphics designing. I learned, I got into the tech world, which is the new gold right now. I'm able to write softwares. I'm able to, provide backend security, data backups, and you're still an undergraduate and you're still earning good, getting employment even from outside of the country. I feel the government needs to do a lot, and maybe they should start from reviewing the curriculum of our institutions in Nigeria so that we'll make it, like a point of necessity. Yes, to make sure that as you're graduating from the university, you're not just coming out with your certificates, you're coming out with something that can give you hands-on experience, something that can, just throw you out there, and then you're able to provide solutions. You're able to, make yourself available for quick fixes. I know a friend of mine that, while we were in school, he was so good with photography. I think in our third year, he got his camera. He was taking pictures. All of the convocation pictures that we took, he was the one that took them. And while he was serving in, I think Akwa Ibom or thereabouts, he went into a competition, did a little of his, artwork exhibition, and he got a scholarship. And he's in the US now. He's doing so well for himself as an art collector. So I think basically it's about, I understand that the economy is tough. I mean, these days people just want to put food on their table. People just want to, look for means of survival. But again, you have to help yourself. If we all agree that the government may not be able to do everything, or the government is not even doing enough at all, then we need to make sure that we don't just sit down and keep our hands folded, and we continue to complain, and we continue to lament, and we continue to, chastise the government for what they are not doing, whether you like it or not. Whether you, yell at the government, make all of the noise you can make, they would always do whatever it is that they want to do. So you have to help yourself to make sure that the system does not consume you, to make sure that the system does not enslave you into thinking that the government will fix all of our problems. Yes, it is the responsibility of the government to provide an enabling environment for us to fix our problems. But the truth is this: would the government be able to fix it? What's the Nigerian population again? About 230 million. What is 63.7% of that population? That is the number of the young people that we have in this country. How many jobs opportunities can the government provide that will take care of those people? And almost on monthly or yearly basis, people write jam, people get into school, people graduate from schools, people go into NYSC, people come out of the scheme, and everybody's looking for a job. Everybody's looking for one thing or the other, to get them going. So why don't you help yourself? Equip yourself with some skill set that will make you employable. I was having a conversation with a friend a few years ago, and I said, even in the media space where we operate, it makes a lot of sense if you have an idea about a lot of things, ideally. So you come into a space and, we're only employing someone that can, for instance, cover political, host a political show or host a sports show, for instance, and the only thing you can do within this space is to cast news or to do, you're just going to keep yourself unemployable. But if you walk into a space and you're like, this is what I know you want to employ for, this is what I can do, but I can also do this. So it's a win-win for everybody. So rather than for organizations to employ people that can, I'm bringing you in as a graphic designer, and then I want to employ someone also that can be a social media handler, for instance, and you're a graphic designer and you can handle the social media as well. So rather than the organization to pay for two people, they'll split the money into to pay you yours, the half for the other person, add it to your own, and you're earning more than you should earn because you have something extra that you are giving. It's simple knowledge. It's common sense. So if you're listening to me right now, you need to make sure that you help yourself with certain skill set. Whatever it is that you can do these days, these things are so easy. You can go online, get yourself to download videos. I know a lot of people that learn graphics designing, that learn usage of canvas and all of that right at the comfort of their homes. Nobody goes to computer center or skill center anymore. Look for what makes you happy, look for what you enjoy doing, and more importantly, something that can put food on your table. Thank you very much once again, Dr. Sɪᴛᴜᴛ Jishao, for joining us in the situation room today. We're due for our first break by 5 o'clock. And when we come back, we'll open the phone lines and also pick your calls. You can join us 0913-600-0410. You can also text us on 0913-600-0430. Drop your messages, and you can also go on facebook.com /mainland 98.3 FM to drop your comments, and also go on youtube.com /mainland 98.3 FM. Amazing time. We've got a couple of messages to take care. Let me start from here. This one says, good evening. Your guest just spoke like someone that is having life so easy. How many Nigerian youth have the opportunity that your guest has at the moment? The Nigerian government needs to do a lot in providing an enabling environment and stop stereotyping Nigerian youth. God bless Nigeria. God bless you too. That is Festus from Ikorodu, my regular. Thank you for always coming through. This one says, the government... Government. Okay. At the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we need to be sincere with the issue of the reform tax bill. The people cannot afford to be taxed more with all of the challenges that they have right now. God bless everyone. Okay. God bless you too. Like I said, there's a little the government can do. I mean, it's very simple. If you have a lot of expectations on someone and they don't live up to that expectation, you cannot continue to, put all of your eggs in that basket. You have to find a way to, move out, try to get yourself engaged, refreshed, try to get yourself equipped, so that if those opportunities come up, there are a lot of people that are taking their online tutors. They have their regular 9-to-5 jobs, and they're still, making a lot of money by, preparing materials, softwares for, A-levels, for, foreign exams, foreign institutions, right in Nigeria, right in Yaba, right in, Ikorodu there, and they're making some good money for themselves. I just feel if we all agree that the government is not living up to their responsibility, then we cannot continue to keep our hands folded and wait for government to bring up miracles. Miracles will not come. We need to help ourselves, and it begins from learning or engaging in some skill sets that can make you earn that extra money you're looking for. It is what it is. Yeah, due for our first break, let me read more messages. This one says, good evening, Okpe. Your guest spoke very well, but I have an issue with the part where she said the government is doing a lot and people are not seeing it. You cannot make development and people will not see it. The administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing one for the people and taking 100 away from the people. E.g., the issue of removal of subsidy. All of the money saved, where has those monies gone to? And also the student loan. How many students have benefited from it? My son is going to pay 173,000 as an undergraduate student, and he's still going to pay another 300,000 at Federal University of Technology, Akure. That should be FUTA. What would the government do in that regard? I'm a civil servant with Yaba local council development area. Where will I get that money to pay? Interesting. Well, that's Mr. Gbenga Salako from IKD. I think that should be Korodu. You work in Yaba. Okay. Interesting. Let's go for our first break. We need to quickly pay some bills, and when I come back, it's 0913-600-0410. We're looking at curbing unemployment with genuine skill sets. That's exactly what we focused on the show today. And my guest has been Dr. Aziza Adishau, youth policy expert, policy direction and community-based advocate. And she's also the senior special advisor to the Honorable Minister for Youth on Policy Development. She joined me via phone on the show today. Stick around. We'll come back and we'll pick your call 0913-600-0410. It is Mainland 98.3 FM.
Mainland 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial. 98.3 FM. Don't touch the dial.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
You started your day with a click. Devices in hand working swiftly. With every click comes a risk inside. And one day they all shut down. But the HMS is the answer. HMO for your devices. With your e-card, you get premium services. The HMS everywhere you go.
Get DHMS, the HMO for your devices from IT Service Desk Africa, the first subscription-based device health support service in Nigeria. Enjoy comprehensive IT and roaming support, data security, and maintenance of all your devices. Call 070-799-35788 or visit itservicedeskafrica.com to get started.
àti pé fún ìdíkòwò mẹ́fà tí mo ti ní mo ní àǹfààní ẹyọ kan sí i.
Ewu lẹ gbé ṣírò lè báyìí.
mo ń ṣe òǹkà ayé tí mo lè ní nínú ìdíkòwò bílíọ̀nù márùn-ún ni nítorí FBN Holdings ìtẹ́pẹpẹ ìdíkòwò fún àwọn tó jẹ́ onípín ìdíkòwò wọn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. èyí já sí pé àwọn tó ti ní ìpín wọn lọ́wọ́ báyìí ní àǹfààní láti ní ìpín kan sí i lórí ìpín mẹ́fà tí wọ́n ti ní. ní ìpín ọjọ́ ọ̀la pẹ̀lú FBN Holdings ìpín ìdókòwò yìí ìdókòwò bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ 4 oṣù kọkànlá di ọjọ́ 12 oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2024. kàn sáwọn olùṣòwò ìpín ìdíkòwò rẹ tàbí ẹ̀ka ilé ìfowópamọ́ First Bank bákan náà ni o lè ra ìpín rẹ lórí First Mobile app rẹ. FBN Holdings ní ìpín nínú ọjọ́ ọ̀la.
If you love amazing Nigerian movies, action, laugh out loud comedy skits, or gripping shows and series, serve yourself all the drama, passion, betrayal, action, and laughs on YouTube with the YouTube buffet plan from MTN. Enjoy over 10 hours of YouTube streaming for just 500 naira and over 4 hours for 200 naira. Dial *312*800# to activate now. YouTube, made for you.
àti pé fún ìdíkòwò mẹ́fà tí mo ti ní mo ní àǹfààní ẹyọ kan sí i.
Ewu lẹ gbé ṣírò lè báyìí.
mo ń ṣe òǹkà ayé tí mo lè ní nínú ìdíkòwò bílíọ̀nù márùn-ún ni nítorí FBN Holdings ìtẹ́pẹpẹ ìdíkòwò fún àwọn tó jẹ́ onípín ìdíkòwò wọn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. èyí já sí pé àwọn tó ti ní ìpín wọn lọ́wọ́ báyìí ní àǹfààní láti ní ìpín kan sí i lórí ìpín mẹ́fà tí wọ́n ti ní. ní ìpín ọjọ́ ọ̀la pẹ̀lú FBN Holdings ìpín ìdókòwò yìí ìdókòwò bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ 4 oṣù kọkànlá di ọjọ́ 12 oṣù kejìlá ọdún 2024. kàn sáwọn olùṣòwò ìpín ìdíkòwò rẹ tàbí ẹ̀ka ilé ìfowópamọ́ First Bank bákan náà ni o lè ra ìpín rẹ lórí First Mobile app rẹ. FBN Holdings ní ìpín nínú ọjọ́ ọ̀la.
You started your day with a click. Devices in hand working swiftly. With every click comes a risk inside. And one day they all shut down. But the HMS is the answer. HMO for your devices. With your e-card, you get premium services. The HMS everywhere you go.
Get DHMS, the HMO for your devices from IT Service Desk Africa, the first subscription-based device health support service in Nigeria. Enjoy comprehensive IT and roaming support, data security, and maintenance of all your devices. Call 070-799-35788 or visit itservicedeskafrica.com to get started.
Hey there! Yes, you! You just won 5,000 naira cash! And you, sitting by the side, there's 1 month Showmax subscription to watch the Premier League waiting for you! You behind! Of course! You're not left out! How does 1,000 naira airtime and 2,000 naira Uber discount sound? All this could come true when you buy the No Unwrap and Win pack. Open it, look for a cube with a 6-digit code on its wrapper, text the code to 8011 and follow the prompts to stand a chance to win any of these instant prizes. Promo valid from July till December. Terms and conditions apply. Get extra value on the No Unwrap and Win pack. No, eat for good.
For every 6 shares I hold, I get 1 more.
What are you doing?
I am counting the numbers I get from over 5 billion shares. FBN Holdings is giving existing shareholders the chance to buy more shares at 25 naira each. This means that you can get 1 new one for every 6 you own. Don't miss out. Own a share of tomorrow with FBN Holdings rights issue. The offer opens from the 4th November to 12th December 2024. Visit your stockbroker or any First Bank branch to get started. You can also access the offer directly on your First Mobile Banking app. FBN Holdings. Own your share of tomorrow.
Hey there! Yes, you! You just won 5,000 naira cash! And you, sitting by the side, there's 1 month Showmax subscription to watch the Premier League waiting for you! You behind! Of course! You're not left out! How does 1,000 naira airtime and 2,000 naira Uber discount sound? All this could come true when you buy the No Unwrap and Win pack, open it, look for a cube with a 6-digit code on its wrapper, text the code to 8011 and follow the prompts to stand a chance to win any of these instant prizes. Promo valid from July till December. Terms and conditions apply. Get extra value on the No Unwrap and Win pack. No, eat for good.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there is not. If there were,
in our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
As elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions, constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there is nothing, we are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join 괰ᴜ as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial. Mainland 98.3 FM will welcome you, roommates, as we discuss the situations.
Thank you very much for still staying with us. Now we're on the home stretch, and by 5:30 there will be the 5:30 bulletin from Milan 98.3 FM. By 6 o'clock, I also come back for Sports Cruise. Amazing games yesterday decided in the major leagues across Europe. Manchester City returned to winning ways after 7 games with 6 defeats and a draw. Beating Nottingham Forest yesterday. Arsenal also got a double over Manchester United. Chelsea 1 away from home. We'll talk about all of these by 6 o'clock. I mean, I could be kind enough for being in a good mood to do some guess and win, promo on the show today, but that will be 6 o'clock. Let's get back into the Situation Room. My guest before I went on that break was Dr. Asisat Yishau, the former and the first speaker of the Nigerian Youth Parliament, first female speaker of the Nigerian Youth Parliament, and also the first female speaker of the Lagos State University Medical Student Association Parliament. I mean, she's currently the senior special advisor to the Honorable Minister of Youth on Policy Development. I will talk about a lot of things on the show today. I will talk about how developing skill sets can help us to put ourselves out of the conundrum of unemployment, the problem of underemployment that Nigerian youths are badly facing as we speak. Well, it is really important for you to, learn a skill set, get yourself equipped. It has nothing to do with, the challenges that you are facing. You can't find your way around these things. 0913 0410. You can also drop your comment on facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Yes, good evening. Oᴘᴇ himself.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well done, well done. Thank you for your good work.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is ᴏᴏʀᴏᴡ calling you from Abulado.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, people are trying, but I wish they will be hearing us and then doing what we are asking. You people are trying, but it's like our cry doesn't even reach them at all.
Wow.
So they should try and do something. It's like I wish that you be recording all this talk that we are talking. You take them and give it to them. Even if they will not do anything, let them be hearing them. So that it will not be that we only talk, we hear it and swallow it, and then they digest it again, excrete it, and then we take it in again. So, in fact, people are dying. People are dying seriously on hunger and committing suicide. So many things. Some of them who are sick, they don't have money to eat, let alone taking themselves to hospital. Some of them will say, let me just die in their house at once because you don't have. In fact, if you go to hospital, the amount that the doctor will cost will even if you don't want to die, you will die by force in the hospital.
Okay. Okay, I understand. I understand what you're trying to say. I understand where that conversation is coming from. So last week, 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine reached out that I should help. Him reach out to if I could get donors. So apparently, somebody related to him wants to go for, I think, some form of operation. So they needed blood donors, and I just posted it around and. Interesting feedbacks that people were giving. Somebody said, now which your belly food they donate blood, and I'm like, wow. Somebody was even asking that how much would they pay him if he goes on to donate, and I'm like, Good evening, Mr. Kola.
Good evening.
You're welcome.
You are really trying, but it's so disheartening. You see, my morale is even a little bit down. The only part that pains me with what your guest says, the government are trying, that we are not saying it. What is the only way we can know they are trying is when the people are saying it. That's the only measure of a good governance. There's nothing that we can use to measure good governance, except
development.
Except development. You can see it in the streets. You can see it in the life of the people. But the life of people is going down. I said there's nothing that is coming down except the bargaining power of people. Since this government has come in, the only thing that is coming down is the bargaining power of people. It's going down every day. I struggle to have an admission for one of my daughters. The girl forfeited the admission because she can't pay 280,000 naira in a federal university. For that matter, 280,000 naira in a federal university. How can that kind of person make it in this kind of economy? And you are talking of self-development without education, without anything. I tried to put up some things in 2020. I'm telling you, this bad governance and everything, I lost almost 1.6 million naira in this same Lagos to tout and all these mismanagement of this government that we are saying. And how do you expect me to rise up again? And I lost a whooping sum, and it's still in court. Come today, come tomorrow, come today, because it is the higher amount that is that the case is affected. How can I go back into this kind of thing? It's uncalled for. It's unfair in this nation. We have to tell the truth. It's unfair. The government are not even trying at all. It's unfair, and they don't want us to travel out of the country. Any small thing, a lot of people blame me that we told you that to Japan at that time. You said you want to remain in this nation. That is not old time.
Mr. Kola, a lot of people, a lot of people are in that space though. Somebody said something on a live video that I was on that majority of the people left in Nigeria, especially young people, are either people that have been denied visa or people that they don't have money to travel yet, or people that are in the process of traveling. And I'm like, I find that really funny, by the way. Hello, good evening. You're welcome.
Yeah, Alaba is my name.
Good to have you join us.
Thank you so much. Some policy that government is making, not necessarily to be this government. Successive government has made a lot of policies that are not suitable to the youth. Look, I want to make this suggestion to the leaders and the government. Let them go back to our secondary schools, primary schools, and go and do what they call Operation Catch Them Young. When I said Operation Catch Them Young, I mean that go to various schools. You can introduce skills there. All these children, all these secondary school, primary school, we're going to drag their attention away from, I want to become compulsory lawyer. I want to become radio presenter. Change their narrative, change their direction. Okay? You will observe that, okay, the way you are going, you can construct something. Okay, let us be training you towards furniture. Let us train this one towards welding. If government can do that, the Operation Catch Them Young, you will see that when they are coming outside, when they are doing their graduation from their institution, by that time, they might have become somebody. Are you getting my point? So these are things government should just look into, so that we will not be complaining every year, every time, or we don't be producing products, producing people that are not employable. How many a lot of university graduates today, when you hear everywhere they speak English, you say, how come?
How did you graduate?
You graduate, somebody will see. They can be able to construct something. Go there, further our polytechnics. You know, most of states now, like Lagos State now, we don't have polytechnics again. All our polytechnics have turned to university. How come? Why not just look into the direction? Everybody cannot be university graduate. Look into our what is it called? The polytechnics. Anybody that wants to go to that direction, let them go there.
Thank you.
Continue the direction.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alaba. 0913600410. On the show today, we decided to look at how skill sets can help us to escape this issue of unemployment that we are dealing with in this country. You and I know that the government would not do everything for us. You and I know that we can continue to hold the government to account, but the days and the years are also running up for us. Imagine having 753 duplex estates. A government employee. Well, the FCC had come out to say that the former CBN governor, Gordon Emefiele, and his cronies acquired the complex with forex kickbacks. Interesting times. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
You're welcome. Please put down the volume on your radio set, or you turn it off completely.
This is Pastor Walamosi from Sulere.
You're welcome.
Yes. You see, it's fearful to see our youths the way we are seeing them. You see, we should at least, they are failing to do it, and that's the problem. You see, we should have a lot of technical schools in thousands all over the country. Technical schools. But when you say technical school, everybody wants to be a doctor, a lawyer, and there was a time I was having a program in my church where I told them that let us give them some lessons on technical, vocational.
They will not come.
Like that. My colleague told me, why are you saying things like that? Why must you preach that? We are. There should be doctors. There should be lawyers. There should be this. There should be that. Doctors, lawyers. But if they bring technology from abroad, who are those who are going to take over the technology? Anything you bring to, I was in Israel, anything you bring to where I was working, I was working in the construction company, anything they bring from anywhere to that place, the people that brought it, it's only 2 weeks they will teach them. After 2 weeks, they
will run it themselves.
They run it themselves. So, but when you say, oh, Nigerians are unemployable, because what we teach them, they can't go to technical school here at where they don't even know what is chisel or screwdriver. They don't know, and they're in the technical school. I don't know why everybody must be thinking of going to polytechnic, university, and that's why we see them all over the place. When we were young, we were longing for City and Guilds of London Institute. Are you getting my point?
Please wrap up your thoughts.
Yes, that is my thought. The government, they should do something about this.
Okay.
It's fearful.
Thank you. I think one of the callers said something that is really important, and that's the idea of catching them young. These days, where you see young kids, 12-year-olds, 10-year-olds, you see schools are already teaching kids how to run, how to run tech-based apps as little as that. Why don't we go back to government, secondary schools and make sure that we include in our curriculum so that they will be taught the way we teach them government, we teach them English, we teach them mathematics. They would also understand that, hey, you can have all of the, certificates you want to have, but make sure that there's a skill set that can give you something extra, something to top up whatever it is that your certificates are actually giving you. Hello, Alhaji Subar.
Hello, Okwe.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Please, Mr. Okwe, we will continue to tell our government, if they like, they hear. If they don't like, they should not bother, like what they are doing now. Mr. Okwe, I want to ask you a question. Those days, this same country, when they are talking of Japa syndrome, when people go to overseas, our brother goes to overseas, they come back home because the environment is conducive. Mr. Okwe, we need to be sincere with ourselves. Nigerians are not lazy. Look, Mr. Okwe, do you know how many universities we have in this country now? Do you know many, how many sections NYC is producing in a year? I think they're about 3 batches, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Thank you very much. What is the provision the government is giving these boys and girls? Nothing. You see, the environment is key, Mr. Okwe. The environment, look, you see, our government, I want to say something. Let me tell you. If they like, they hear. If you fail to, take care of these young boys, they will not make you, they will not have, give you rest in future. Whatever you have is a key word. Our government failed to give Nigeria an enabling environment. Sustainability in this country is too high. Maintenance in this country is too high. You see, Nigeria is facing a lot, Mr. Okwe. Look, if you are running a company, to sustain a company, is it easy? Our president has started going to overseas. How many establishments, how many people come to this country since he has started going up and down? A country which is full of kidnappers. A country where the life is not stable. A country where the nairas are falling day by day. Economic is no stability. What are we talking about? It is their responsibility. They have to do it. We will continue to say if they don't do it, we don't go to their house to come and force them to come and rule us. You see, what we face in this country is the malady of our leaders. You understand? Let's say it. If they like, they hear. The country they are going to, is that the way they run their own country? They bastardized everything in this country because of their self-defense. Have a nice day, okay?
Alhaji Subar, enough has been said. 0913-600-0410. I've got messages to read as well, and some of your posts to also read on facebook.com/Mainland 98.3 FM. But let's pick more calls. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Okoyemi.
You're welcome.
My name is Olumide. I'm calling from Alimosho.
Mr. Olumide, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for the good work you are doing. You see, it's not as if technical schools are not producing graduates or graduates, as the case may be, or some polytechnics are not producing people who can have hands-on ability to work. But the issue is, like the last caller said, it is difficult to start up even micro business. If you are on the road, local government will come and serve you paper. People who own the place will want to charge you. How many young folks coming out of technical school will want to do, will have the means to start up that way? So what the government can do is to bring down the cost of living, cost of sustenance, like Alhaji Zubar said. To move around itself is very difficult. I have my office in the last 14 years in a very big office complex on Island. And between that 14 years and now, I can tell you there has been a significant shift. It used to be like a federal secretariat. But now, an office, a law firm, an accounting firm, a management consulting firm like my own and other disciplines, you scarcely find even the guys coming to office now for 5 days. Some come only once or twice.
In a whole week?
Yes. Well-established people. Well-established lawyers, accountants, they come twice, 3 times a week now. Because the cost of moving around is difficult. How much, if all well-established people are so hard up that way, how much more young folks coming out? People tell UCOM members, when they are being, given orientation or passing out, they encourage them to go and start up, go and do the...
Start up with what?
With what and how and where?
Even existing businesses are folding
their
up.
Fathers, their uncles, with their parents. How I go to office, like I skip offices now. I tell you, I skip days now, and I'm a business owner. I skip offices, avoiding going to office 5 days a week now. So that is the bottom line, my brother. God will help us in this country. So your speaker spoke well, your invitee spoke well. But the issue is the federal government should now, Mr. President should please stay home and see to making things come down. Even in the domestic front, gas is so expensive now, 1,400, 1,500 per kg. It is on the high side. Even poor people want to go for charcoal or something, it's also
expensive.
Because you bring it from ʻIsēɲɪ and Okiogo area, the transportation, what about the transportation? What about the carriage cost? It's so high.
Thank you very much.
Thank you too, my brother.
Thank you very much for joining the conversation. Let me read a few of your messages before we say our goodbyes on the show. Okay, this one says, good evening. Okay, I think I took this one already. This one says, good evening, Mainland FM. Your guest spoke well. However, we need to understand that the economy is not friendly for even people with skill sets to survive. People are refusing to employ graduates because they are looking for cheap labor. May God help us. I think the NYSC should be scrapped. It had outstayed in importance in Nigeria's system. Rather, people should use that 1 year to learn vocational jobs and make themselves employed. Interesting. I think we've come to the end of the program. Amazing stuff we've had on the show today. The program returns tomorrow at the same time, and of course, same station, Mina 98.3 FM, 4 to 5:30. And it is the situation. By 5:30 today, the full news would come through. And by 6 o'clock, we'll also come back for Sports Code 6 to 7 p.m. on Mila 98.3 FM. My name is ʻOkpeyemi Akene. Thank you to everyone that made this production a huge success. Stay safe and keep your heads high. Keep thriving and make sure that you learn a skill set or you commit yourself into doing same as we prepare for the new year. Bye for now.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face.